This is the Central Business District Streetscape Improvements for the Village of Hampshire pre-construction meeting, Wednesday, April 18th, 2022. Attendance sheets being passed around, please sign that. That'll be part of the CDBG documents that we'll send to them. And then I think real quick, we just go around and do introductions. That'd be great. Kurt Devin with DEI.
Jay Hedges, Village Manager. Bill Panslaw, Street Department Foreman.
Dave Starrett, Street Supervisor.
Lori Lyons, Finance Director.
Ryan Thompson, Chief of Police.
Linda Vasquez, Village Clerk.
Josh Ray, Assistant to the Manager.
Rudy from Alliance Contractors.
Richard from EEI, Kurt with Alliance Contractors.
Okay, thanks guys. Just going through number 2 on the agenda there, kind of general project information, and I'm just going to kind of breeze through some of the stuff. If you guys have questions on this, in the instance of time, just let me know. So list of subcontractors, these are the erosion control, concrete, paving, asphalt, restoration, testing, all that kind of stuff. We'll just need to get all those contracts and everything from Alliance. Once you guys get all that stuff finalized, it's got to be into Freddie for her coordination, as well as all the additional subcontractor documents that need to be into the overall contract as well. So we'll kind of get that straightened out.
Yep.
Contract bond.
Can I ask a question while you're while you're on the subcontractors? Can I ask Alliance what the status of the contracts are with the subcontractors?
Well, we're waiting on 2 to come back, and then we'll have the full package for you. I would guess if you'd have those by the end of the week, certainly.
All right, as soon as you get them, pardon me, can you get them forwarded to Kurt so he can get them to me?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. As far as contractor bonds go, I do have the 3 copies of the full agreement here. This is basically the guts. All the additional DCEO documents will add into the end, but I'm going to give you the contractor at compliance. I'm going to give you guys the 3 copies of this so you can execute your portions, get your performance bond, your payment bond, get all those places and pieces in place.
Okay.
And
That's
then,
kind of what we were waiting for. So perfect.
Exactly. I've got all that stuff, and I just was trying to get the contractors contracts off to DCO because that's a whole separate portion of this besides the actual village portion of this.
I understand.
So we'll get that.
Is this something we're taking?
Yes, I got 3 copies of this. Yeah.
I just wanted to start a pile of them.
Yeah. And then once you guys get all of this, and I put a list here on the front.
Yep.
Payment bond, performance bond, signed agreement. Yeah, you had your old signed agreement on there, but we just changed the village's signature on there. So if you just sign that one, it'd be great.
Okay.
And then add in your DCO documents. We will compile everything together, so you don't need to worry about the organization so much.
Okay.
I do not have your original CDBG documents in here because this is just the front end portion of it. The back end stuff you guys already signed. Don't worry about that. We can coordinate later.
So everything we need is here.
Everything you guys need to sign is here.
Yes.
And I just need the additional contractor documents that were sent, the
Yes.
list that was sent to you guys.
Okay.
And I think Eric in your office got it, and then Renee in your office was
Correct.
looking
She's
at it,
working on it.
so she should have that. So kind of just the pieces of the contractor bonds, making sure you guys have your license with the village, contractor license with the village. Linda,
We don't have a contractor's license.
you guys don't, okay?
I was not aware of one.
I was just making sure there wasn't anything specific. You got the payment performance bond that's there, and then just making sure anything that's certificate for sure that the village, the EEI are named additionally insured in your insurance policies. Any questions on number 2?
No.
Number 3, funding requirements. So just to reiterate, prevailing wages based on the contract that was there. You guys will be starting in time, so you won't worry about any new prevailing wages for that. You need to submit weekly certified payrolls, and you got to follow the CDBG submittal process. As far as payments with the village, it would probably have more on a monthly payroll stuff, if that's okay.
Now with IDOT, now we're submitting those they're in a transition period. Do you guys mirror IDOT as far as payroll, certified payrolls?
I'm not quite sure I understand what you mean.
Well, they're in a process of changing over how we submit these. We've got to submit them to the Department of Labor, the DOL, and then they disperse from there. or they store. Some jobs we still have to submit to the villages, some we have to, so this is the first CDBG job we've done since
Yeah,
that's come along.
I think, Freddie, correct me if I'm not wrong, if this is just you guys submit your weekly payrolls to us, we will keep track of them, and then towards the end of the project, that's when everything kind of gets compiled and sent, because CDBG needs the first one and the last one. Now, they may
So
check.
we
things
submit
along
everything
the way.
to you guys.
And we will get it to Linda, she will be the document keeper of everything, but
That's why I'm asking, because there's even confusion in IDOT right now.
yeah, I trust me, I just went through 991, they don't even know what's going on.
Correct.
No, and we don't submit, as Kurt just said, it's the first and the last payroll that go to, Springfield. But this program is a federal program, so it functions differently than does DOL.
Okay. And as long as we've got a point to give them to, that's all.
Yeah,
I'm
you
looking for.
can run the.
What format do you use for your payrolls? Do you use the Department of Labor format for your payrolls?
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
All right, job site postings, this is just based on any village requirements for job site postings and also the CDBG requirements for the job. If you guys need any clarifications on that, you can sidebar that one.
Okay.
We can provide copies of all of those posters if you don't have them.
Yes, if you could, that'd be great. And give us a link or something.
Yeah, that was gonna,
And
That's
they all
something-
have to,
coordinate up the side, because it's probably too much to discuss here.
Yeah, yeah.
and they all just have to make sure they're all
Give us a
posted.
link, it'd be great. We'll make the board.
Yeah, it's just kind of just all the funding requirements
Yeah.
and the labor requirements and equal opportunities and just one.
Absolutely.
Yep.
We're familiar.
So anything else, funding requirements, anybody? Permit requirements, this is just basic stuff. The construction set of plans, we will send you guys a PDF copy, and if you guys want a hard copy, we can get that to you as well. There really isn't anything changed in the plans, it's just a core construction set. So,
That's fine. You guys are doing the layout, so we don't really need it.
correct. So just so you had it, we can do that for you. As far as permits go, the IEPA water main permit, I believe that was emailed to you guys, Alliance.
That I'm not sure.
Check with Eric.
Okay.
I might have already sent that to him prior to getting Kurt involved.
Okay.
And then staging plan for the roadway, that's kind of in here, and as far as like closures, so we're gonna obviously need to talk a little more about dates, the closure dates, duration of schedule and all that kind of stuff, but we'll get some deeper into that. There really isn't anything permit required for the staging plan. The only thing I think we really need to be aware of, and it's not really a permit, is just understanding the message boards and the lead time before you guys actually have the closure. 10-day, 14-day, it's not IDOT, so I think it's whatever the village would feel comfortable
Do
with.
you guys have message boards in stock? Or?
No, we run them.
You do?
Yeah,
That's something, because I mean, Kurt and I, that's why we didn't come with a schedule, because we wanted to talk to you guys and see. We're trying to minimize disruption to the businesses, so I don't know if there's something we can talk to you guys about and see if we should do something ahead of time before we completely close the road.
let's talk about that. What do you mean by that?
Well, some of the underground maybe can be done without complete road closures, just do daily flag readers and that kind of stuff for
The more
short term.
Unless, yeah.
But, obviously,
Yeah.
we don't have a whole lot of flag in our bid, but we'd like to be able to, minimize, because if we take them off right off the bat, we're gonna be in trouble.
Yeah, all right, well, we can cover that in a.
That's kind of what we want to talk to you guys about it.
Well, I mean, that's what we need to tell people at 10:30 is what's gonna happen.
Yes, and we'll cover that in the scope here, so we'll get through that. So, next one, contacts, number 5. We just need to understand, the 24-hour contact numbers you're gonna have. So you're gonna be, you're gonna be the 24-hour contact. Now, is that the contractor contract, period?
Yes.
Okay, for anything?
Yep.
All right. And then, as far as EEI contact, you can use myself. We will also put, Richard Rogers here. He'll be the on-site job, resident. So he can definitely be another contact as well. As far as the village, I put down Jay, but I don't know if you guys want to have somebody else. That's good.
I would say Dave really should be our point guy. When
You want
it comes to
Dave?
anything on the street.
Okay. And I could probably put both of you guys down if that's okay.
Just for me, it would just be questions. Can't
Yeah,
imagine what it might be, but
okay,
if it has to do with closing or disrupting business or something like that.
Okay.
And myself
Okay.
and Bill, if we're not going on vacation.
Oh, that's right.
oh. That sheds the light here on that one, okay.
We'll be talking enough that who's around.
Yes, so we'll just get that coordinated. All
I
right.
gotta put a speaker up on the top of Village Hall and just yell at them. And set the cameras up so we can watch.
Exactly. All right, number 6, construction schedule. Obviously, you guys still need to kind of get this to us and talk about daily constructions. You know, you got your Julie, you'll need to call in for your underground work. And then just kind of mentioning the fully completed by October 28th based on the contract date. And then any public utilities in the conflict and business constructions, please be aware, there's a lot of stuff going on the road. Business notifications, that's an obvious one. We're obviously gonna be talking more about that with the meeting coming in after this, as well as getting deeper into the schedule as to when the roads will be closed, how much impact we're really gonna be talking about. So moving on to scope of work. Traffic control, kind of the first thing here. We've got the detour that the village will be putting up the signs, 16 weeks max based on the contract. We'll always have to coordinate the date you guys want to close, and that's something we'll kind of get into some of these other things here. Access to businesses, the parking locations. I think if we're understanding what additional lots are behind there that let these business owners own, those are the things we're gonna kind of talk with these guys.
Yeah, just on that poster over there, you can see the 3 parking areas, and then that new yellow one is the new parking lot that we're gonna be building the next couple of weeks along the railroad tracks.
Okay,
There'll be 20 more spaces. So all those, that's where all the people should be parking,
okay.
either that or side street.
Okay, yeah, I think that's just letting those business owners know that's the biggest thing. Now, as far as construction parking, I mean, I don't know how many guys you guys are gonna have here on a daily basis. There is a little area that's kind of reserved for construction staging that's on the south side of Jefferson, kind of just out here, slightly north. That's gonna be, you know, your area that you can use for construction parking, and if you gotta, you know, stage materials, things like that. This obviously be a dead end portion right here once it's all closed. So cars coming up state, kind of coming towards here can park in the southern area, but not too much further past because we're gonna be getting into the construction zone. And if you guys want to establish and coordinate with the village at best.
Now, we might be able to coordinate with AT&T to use, for you guys to use their parking lot, because they're immediately across the street from here.
Oh, okay.
I mean, there's never anybody over there. Have we ever done that, Lori, that you're aware of?
I'm sorry.
Put people in that, allow the contractor to park in AT&T's parking lot?
No, we've never done that.
Okay, I mean, there's never anybody over there, is there?
They meet in the morning,
Oh, do they?
yeah, to disperse.
But
How about the
We'll see.
lot on Washington,
our lot?
our lot?
Yeah, we're trying to keep that open for the residents and stuff. We're talking about construction vehicles now. So we'll figure something out.
We'll take a look.
I'm just trying to figure out what Kurt was talking about, because I can't figure it out.
Right in front of Village Hall.
Just right in front of here, so
Oh, in the striped area?
yeah, so like,
That's
let's say the
construction.
first, like, you know, 75 feet just south of Jefferson
Got
here.
you.
There's no construction proposed,
Sure.
but it's the kind of that little blank area that we showed as a blocked off area.
North of the alley, because that alley will stay
Correct.
between us and the.
Correct. So it starts at the alley and goes towards the construction site. So it's like I said, it's the pass through area where it's a dead end. You can't really go any further.
Gotcha.
There's no reason to put cars up that way.
Got it.
Thanks for the barricade me on that.
Yes, so that you guys have, like I said, an age area you need to put pipe or in materials, or if you want to bring some vehicles and park in there, if there's other spots that they can, you know, park or whatever. And that just kind of goes into the signage provided by the village, of course, and then your staging area, which I just mentioned. Second one, soil erosion sediment control. So there's not really a whole lot going on with soil erosion sediment control. Inlet protection, I would say, dust control. That's mainly what you're going to be dealing with, because there isn't any, you know, so to speak, silt fence or, you know, ponds or ditches or anything like that to deal with. But if anything does come up, you know, if there's some sediment that starts running, maybe you have to put up some road silt fence or something like that to help mitigate that. Streetscape improvements, this is the number C. So just kind of running through some of the items in here. You got the sidewalk and street removal limits, your electric removal, storm removal, various salvaged items, including the street lights that may be salvaged, and then, you know, anything you guys would want. I mean, I'm not sure, not sure anything else really needs to be salvaged.
No, we would want the lights, in case if somebody runs one over.
Yep.
I know there's something that's been brought up about temporary lighting. Are the lights gonna stay up during?
Yeah, so it was the intent for the existing lights to stay up during construction because the new lighting system is all new conduit, all new lights, different locations, all new controller. So, and we got no questions during the bid process that said that this was not gonna be a problem. So if temporary lighting was gonna be an issue and needed to be addressed, it should have been brought up during the bid process. And after Jay had talked with chief police that we need to have light.
Yeah.
And, you know, if it's,
We're working with our electrical contractor now to come up with a plan to keep that going.
yeah,
My guess is it's gonna be the existing one staying.
yeah. And then realistically, the three that are south of the construction, I mean, hopefully those aren't gonna be an issue because they're not anywhere near any of the main construction. And then the two to the north, same thing. The three that are in the mid block of where you're doing all your construction, those are the only three that could pose some problems based on what you need to do.
And there's a couple of them close to some underground and some other stuff that,
Yes,
and I don't know, I'm not smart enough to know where they're fed from or any of that stuff.
They're all the lights are fed from behind the old dollar store, except for the two last ones, the Jackson and the one closest to the village, are fed overhead from a ComEd pole because the wiring underground is so bad. Just so you know.
Easy.
Yeah, the two,
Maybe we'll just take off that feed then and feed
Yeah.
those others.
yeah,
Feed the other ones aerially and then we're done with all the other stuff.
yeah.
But we're in talks right now with the electrical guys.
Brian, how many of those three lights you think we would need at night?
In the 100 block?
Yeah.
I'd like to see them all.
All three of them?
the same.
You know, all your, the copper barrel or whatever is gonna be open is gonna be.
Yeah, they've got one o'clock license that we got. Right, they still.
Yeah.
I've got a really old as-built wiring diagram of what's downtown if anybody hasn't used it.
I'll let the electrical contractor know that.
Yeah,
Yeah, they'll probably definitely
It
help.
might be easiest, especially with the old condition that everything's in out there, to do aerial and just run it up. And then we don't have to worry about hitting it and knocking it out or anything. But again, we need to talk to those guys. and see what-
Okay, all right, perfect. So I guess electrical submittals installation, talking about temporary lights, possible leaving existing poles, we're definitely leaving existing poles, sounds like. And then I have the Kornacki plans here if we needed to talk any further about that, but we probably don't. Storm sewer improvements, next one. So just let us know 48 hours prior to any of your sewer work you're gonna do in there, just to make sure we, are ready for it. Utility crossings, verify all those utility crossings that you got in the plans. They should be all good. The only tricky one is gonna be the AT&T coordination. We have been in coordination with AT&T. They are well aware of the project. We have put them in contact with either you or Eric, and I can't remember who I gave. I gotta check.
Okay.
But they had your information. They're well aware and they're ready to get that AT&T lid that's out there adjusted.
Okay,
Oh,
Yeah,
sorry, that's all it is, adjustment?
yeah,
okay.
So
yeah.
there's no
Yeah, no.
conflicts with any of the ductwork or anything?
No, not that I know of. No.
That part's easy.
Yep, so they just have to get to coordinate with them so they can come out and do their adjustments on it.
Yep.
So colored concrete, pedestrian enhancements, middle stuff, HMA concrete middles. The concrete joining plan is in here, it can be modified to match the existing or, as needed as you guys start getting into things. And landscape items, once you get that, we can submit that, so PRI can take a look, make sure everything's all good on that. If you have any questions of the PRI plans, we'll detail any of that, landscaping item issue or landscaping item requirements.
Okay.
Any questions on the general streetscape improvements? All right, moving forward, kind of just some general stuff, as-built plans are gonna be done. We will be performing as-built plans, but, you guys at Alliance should let us know if anything does change, so we can make sure they're properly documented and notify the resident engineer on site. Daily cleanup, obviously gonna be something we're gonna have to keep a good prized situation on, both streets and sidewalks, just to make sure everything is clear. You know, if you guys have your fencing and whatnot, make sure that pedestrians are safe the whole time, it would be awesome. And then obviously maintaining drainage, so when you guys get to a point where you're digging up the road and, you know, you need to have sedimentation basins to, you know, discharge through silt bags into the storm sewer, however you need to do it, yeah, that's definitely something that, that Richard here can, you know, lend a hand to us. Moving on to water main. So material issues, I just want to just touch base on that really quick. Have you guys been working on getting your materials for the job? Do you have your materials, any issues?
We have told subcontractors to release them, and yes, we are.
Yeah.
Okay, because I know ductile has definitely been a hot item these days.
Yeah, it's not like there's an issue with that.
Okay, good. Because I think, you know, we've got that 120 or 180,
Yeah.
whatever it is, a small amount, a couple hundred feet of pipe we're gonna be putting in at Jefferson there.
It's a tricky little couple hundred feet too.
Yeah, it is.
A lot of stuff in there, that one's gonna take a little bit.
Yes, there's definitely a lot going on, that's for sure. And again, you know, make sure, contact the village and EEI as far as tapping those existing mains, so we can make sure we can get put in there right.
Excuse me, you might want to contact Mark Montgomery for that, for the water and sewer part. I don't know if you guys want his
Thanks
contact.
with the village as well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
If you could put that on there.
Yeah.
Pre-cut notes, that'd be great.
yeah, I just realized that Mark wasn't here.
Yeah.
I did invite him. Just a note here that, make sure the trenches remain open, where the thrust box has been constructed or installed rather, so, you know, EEI and the village can make sure everything looks good. They're precast, not poured in place. And any submittals, please submit them, you can look them myself, and I'll pass it on properly. Testing, obviously, you got chlorination and pressure testing to do for the water main based on village requirements. And then, again, 48 hours notice for, you know, prior to performing the testing and operation of valves. Kind of have here just some basic stuff on the activities as far as flushing and chlorination, first and second day sampling, and so on and so forth, pretty standard. Then a note on pressure testing there. As far as project signs go, you know, obviously the village is handling the detour signs as well. If there's any, you know, signs that you guys as Alliance need to handle, like a sidewalk closed sign, or, you know, depending on what you guys are gonna need to do on just some of that basic stuff right within your area. Coordinate that between the village and us, just to see if you need it.
Okay.
Construction access, we've kind of touched base on this already, you know, coming in from the south is kind of that staging area where you're gonna have easiest way to get in. Now, on the north, there's kind of the same way, you've got a little bit of area kind of right just south of the library there where you guys can come in from the north, but I don't know what direction you guys are truly gonna want to come in the best side, so. You can let us,
Depend
Yeah.
on what operation we're doing.
okay, yeah, and I would think that we could probably just work with you on, you know, those 2 points.
Sure.
What works best for, you know, what portion you're on. Specifications, let's touch base on real quick, just general IDOT standard specs for Bridge Road and the water main sewer main construction in Illinois. If there's anything that supersedes with the village, you would obviously have to require that, or follow that as well. Lastly, health and safety, OSHA requirements, safe work environment, just the basic stuff for that. And then as far as, you know, when they say sanitary facilities and that, it's kind of talking about your porta potties. Making sure you guys got a good location, you know, if you do have that picked out, we put that in here, otherwise we can just say TBD.
Yeah.
All right. Business services, so, mail deliveries, coordinate with businesses, we gotta figure out kind of, this is something we'll touch base on with the businesses and if we don't do with that at all.
No mail delivery downtown.
None.
No, gotta go to the post office.
Great. That's good to know. That's
Just truck deliveries.
just truck, well, yeah, deliveries and truck deliveries, right? Now, would that include like UPS, FedEx, all that kind of stuff too?
Most of those can be done in the alleyways, I would think,
Okay, okay,
because there's alleys on both sides.
okay, all right.
That's my question was gonna be. So, yeah, good. For the most part, they're all gonna have access, because that sidewalk stays in adjacent to.
It does, it does.
So they're gonna have access to their front doors pretty much the whole time.
Yeah, I think
And
it's
we'll have safety fence up.
cool. I think the biggest thing is gonna be, they're obviously not gonna be able to fly right down the street and stop in the middle of the street and jump out. So it's gonna have to find, they're gonna have to find kind of, and maybe let the businesses know, it's like they got a FedEx package, hey, have them come into the alley east side of Jefferson, or, come in off and park at the dead end on Washington or something, so they can just get out and then walk down from north, south, or whatever to get to the businesses. Then lastly, emergency vehicular access for this. I don't know if we have to necessarily worry about through the closure area, but, the detoured area.
We're
Yeah,
still gonna have
in there.
access for our equipment to get in on there, so fire equipment has to get in there.
Can
The
get in
rescue,
there.
they can get.
Okay, yeah, I think that's just making sure that it's ready to be accessed.
Yeah.
Okay. And any questions on the, complete scope of work in there? All right, kind of move into the last items in here, pay requests. Obviously, we need to get the, any pay requests, we need to get the engineer's payment estimate, submit to the contract for agreement, get those weekly payrolls submitted for CDBG, that we'll, keep on document. And, no extra work can be permitted unless it's authorized by the village, so please let us know if you get to that point. Submit invoice waivers, certified payrolls to EEI, we will coordinate with the village and get that to them. All right, into the other category here, we've already kind of talked about temporary lighting. Construction layout, just to touch base on, EEI will be doing construction layout, we'll have to coordinate with you guys as far as when you need, what you need, so on and so forth. Again, give 48 hours notice minimum for that, so we can get things coordinated with you guys, right? And we'll get to the CDBG document here, let's just run through that. This is not in your, outline there, but I'm just gonna kind of just touch base, and Freddie, you can, jump in on these different categories, as needed, all right?
No problem.
All right, so a lot of these things we've kind of touched base on a little bit here and there. As according to CDBG, we need to run through the labor law requirements, referring to the Davis-Bacon related acts, the Copeland Act, the Contract Work Hours and Safety Standards Act, and then also the Urban Housing Development Act. So those four pieces, just mentioning those and make sure everyone's aware. Any comments on that section?
All of those were included in the bid documents and signed by the general contractor. The only thing that I would mention is we need to coordinate the date of the wage rate to make sure that we don't have to request another wage rate and amend the contract.
The wage rates will change June 1st.
As long as you guys start early May, we don't have to worry about it.
Yes.
Yep, we have 90 days from the date of award to the date of the first payroll to be able to use the same wage rate that's included in the bid specs and in the documents.
Okay, just so you're aware, contractually, we're obligated with the unions. They will be getting a wage increase June 1st. So,
Okay.
but it'll be above what is in the contract,
Yeah,
starting June 1st.
yeah, and just according, and this just kind of what she's touching base on is that according to CBDG, if you start a project before that deadline date, you do not have to change your wage rates.
I get you. Gotcha.
If you guys have to based on your own stuff, that's
Right.
fine. CBDG does not require that.
Okay.
Second one, additional classifications, not really much to say on that, is there, Freddie?
No, we don't expect that there would be any additional classification.
Okay. Okay, next one's.
Does Alliance, wait, excuse me 1 second, does Alliance think there'll be any other classifications than what was on the wage rate?
No.
Okay, perfect. That works.
Good. Job site postings, obviously we'll coordinate with you guys, and Freddie and I will help get you guys all the information you need to get the correct documents placed on there. There are some postings that I can give you this if you want. that's got some websites here for the notice deploys, the rights. These are the posters. They're gonna look.
You said you can send us one in the package if you want to.
Correct. This isn't gonna be part of the contract documents. It's just a separate document that's submitted to CDBG.
Okay.
Next, number 4 is payrolls. Just to kind of run through this, we've talked a little bit about this already. Original payrolls submitted weekly. There's a payroll form W347. We can get that information on this, so you guys have all that document information. Lists all the different payroll information that's needed in the documents. I can run through all of them. And then payroll deductions made according to the Department of Labor regulations. Fringe benefits, just a bunch of different things. Payroll is not numbered sequentially by the respective contractor. General and sub submitted signature authorized forms that needs to sign payrolls if someone other than the owner signs them. And then the last piece is the payroll submitted to, and you can just submit them to myself, and I will coordinate with the village and Greg.
Okay.
The key is that it needs to be, so if you're ending your work week on a Friday or a Saturday, whatever day your work week is ending,
Saturday.
within 7 days after that date end, I need to have those payrolls.
Okay.
So if you guys finish on a Saturday, would it be possible to get those payrolls to me by the following Wednesday or Thursday?
I don't do them, so I'm not gonna promise anything.
All right.
They're on it.
Okay.
The reason I'm hiccuping is just to get them from subs. Sometimes it's.
And if it's Friday, that'd be the last day, because I don't want to deal with it on Saturday. Listen, I'll just be honest. Yeah, so if we can figure out what day you guys want to do that, and we'll stick to it the whole time. Is that something we can do?
Yeah.
All right. So we'll have to let us know what date you want to do. Wednesday would be preferred, because then I can have time to put it together, get it to the village, get it to Freddie, and then no one's scrambling on a Friday afternoon going, what are you doing? Send this to me now. Number 5, contractor, subcontractor certifications. This is just a reiteration of what's all going to be in the document here. You guys have already signed the contractor certification, DCO, CDBG documents. We just need the subcontractor ones to be submitted there as well. It does mention here prime and subcontractors, compliance with labor standard provisions. Ready? Anything else on that one?
I don't have anything. I have a question. Do you know, if any of your subs are registered, with SAM.gov?
I don't know.
Okay, because I
I'm not
tried to
familiar
look them
with
up,
that.
but I couldn't find them, so I'm assuming that they're not.
I'm not familiar with it, so I can't answer you honestly. I'm not sure what SAM is.
It's just registered to work on federal projects.
They all should be. I know they're all IDOT approved. So by virtue of doing that, I'm sure they're all federally approved because IDOT has federal funds in a lot of their contracts. So I'm sure they are.
Okay, I'll go back and double check because I couldn't find them.
Oh, okay.
Did you find any of them, Freddie?
I found Alliance.
Okay.
That was it. I have Alliance's clearances. I just could not find any of the subs.
All of our subcontractors have done IDOT work with us in the past, so I'm
Okay.
sure they are, not being familiar with that item or how you find them, I can't speak.
Okay, I'll double check, and if you could just ask them, if they are registered, that would be great.
SAM?
It's sam.gov.
Okay.
Okay. Next
It's not
one.
required. It's required that the general be registered, but not that the subs.
Oh, okay.
That's why you know.
That was just a casual question, just keep.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
I'm sorry.
All right. So the next one, number 6, split classification. Is this anything we need to talk about, Freddie?
No, that's more something that Alliance has to be aware of, and the subs, whether or not if an individual is performing 2 different tasks and 2 different classifications. That's probably very unlikely.
Okay.
Yeah. Proper designation of trade. Kind of getting into the only people who can be paid less than the rate for their craft are apprentices registered in the U.S. Department of Labor or approved program. So just making sure that your trade is designated.
Yep.
That's one. Foreman. So the foreman and supervisor really paid more than 20% of their performing construction work are covered labor mechanics for labor standards purposes.
How long will it be?
Oh, maybe 5 minutes. Must be paid designated for their classification which they work. Relatives are not exempt from the Davis-Bacon requirements, must be paid prevailing wage. Apprenticeship provisions. I don't know if you guys would be dealing with any apprenticeship type stuff on this job at all. Journeyman apprentice ratio must be observed. I don't know if that's going to apply at all, but just be aware. Wage interviews.
There's a wage interviews. It's in a HUD 11 form. Each wage classification has to be interviewed at 1 or 2 points during the time of the project, just to be able to confirm that they're being paid the correct wage rate. And that's something that EEI's on-site person would be doing.
But this is just a CDBG requirement, just a double check of a double check.
Okay.
It's just the way it is, I guess. Number 12 is working subcontractors. Kind of in the event of general contractor, subcontractor has a self-employed proprietor. So someone has no employees, they just work for themselves. The Davis-Bacon rate must be paid in the following procedure. The procedures in here is based on, who the person reporting to, their name, classification, hours worked, self-employed or whatever. Anything else on that one, Freddie?
Nope, you're good.
Okay. Truck drivers, I guess, they're not covered by the Davis-Bacon prevailing wage. That's what it kind of talks in here, but not directly on the site of work. And truck drivers must be paid the Davis-Bacon rates for time spent while employed directly upon the site of the work. So let's just be aware of that. Violations, withholding of funds, termination of contractor debarment. EEO, equal employment opportunity, just kind of making sure you're aware of the EEO. Number 16 is the Section 3 hiring and contracting activity. That's the HUD report. I don't know if you want to highlight anything on that at all, Freddie.
Section 3 is just a requirement that there's a good faith effort to be able to hire local contractors and subs and local residents for a project. And there was a Section 3 plan and a Section 3 certification included in the bid docs.
Correct. Number 17 is changes. All work on a CDB project must remain in the project area identified. So I guess if anything does change that's drastically different from the project, we'll have to be notified so that we can make sure that CDBG is aware.
And if there is any change, there has to be notification prior, because we can't go out of the project area because that just kicks in a whole bunch of additional rules and regulations. So we don't want to see that happen.
All right. Lastly, just as the materials provided, we're going to be getting various materials provided, to the contractor: wage, the certificate, payroll form, labor standards, the HUD 11, and the Davis-Bacon. Any other additional topics we need to discuss on this, Freddie, at all, based on what's there?
No, I guess, does Alliance have any questions as it relates to the CDBG federal portion of the project?
No.
Then I have nothing else to add.
All right.
And I do have all of those materials ready for you, Kurt, and I'll get them to you either today or tomorrow.
Okay. Sounds good. And then we're covered on CBDG then, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Have the light poles been ordered yet?
No, I have not.
What's your lead time on those? Do you know?
After approval of the drawings was 16 weeks, I believe. Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And when do you think we'll be ready to have the approval on the drawings?
They're still waiting to get the cut sheets to let the subcontractor is to get the approval.
I would like to think within a week.
Yeah.
Hopefully
Okay.
within a week, we'll have the check drawings.
Okay.
Well, unless anyone else has any questions, comments, or additions? I have nothing further.
Just one question, what are the penalties for? Okay.
So in the contract, there are late fees assessed on a daily basis.
So yeah, in October, or whatever.
Yeah, on October 28th, it's, if I remember correctly, $1,025 per day.
Once the 16 week starts.
So the 16 weeks is, if we have determined there's 16 weeks, that penalty would apply to 16 weeks as well.
Okay, just want to make sure we understand. that.
Correct.
So why don't we go ahead and adjourn this meeting, and then I'll introduce everybody.
I have one quick question for you, Freddie.
Sure.
Once these contracts and subcontracts get to you, what's the turnaround time on your part? Because that's gonna obviously establish our start date.
We just have to have them in our file, so it's probably a 24-hour turnaround.
Okay.
I just need to make sure that all of the materials that are required are included. They don't get sent to Springfield. They don't get sent anywhere.
Okay.
Come on, Brandon, sit in the front row, not the back.
Oh, all right.
No, I'm just kidding. Sit wherever you want. You're gonna be the star today. We're gonna introduce you today.
Perfect. All right.
Turn around here so I can give you dark story. Are you finished?
I'm all done. I'll do it.
So we'll call that meeting to an end. And so for those of you who joined us a little early, you've just seen the back end, how ugly government is on the back end. This is a federally funded, state managed program, I think is the right way to put it. So Freddie Bestmoney is on the screen. She's our consultant and our grant writer, who's been working for the village for probably, what, 20 some years.
That's a compliment. Thank you, Jay.
I'm going to let everybody introduce themselves here. So what we've just completed is the pre-con meeting with the contractor. So what you'll be doing now is hearing the results of that pre-con meeting, some of the planning, what you can expect during construction, when it's going to start, when it'll finish. And so I do have some drawings here. We'll be sharing by screen and showing some details a little later on. So that if I could first have everybody up here, starting over here, Richard, if you can introduce yourself around here and then around the whole room, please.
Richard Rogers with EEI.
Rodney Heisel, I'm also referred to as Rudy from Alliance Contractor.
Kurt Montani, Alliance Contractors.
For Devin with the EI.
And just for a second, EEI is the village engineer, so they're representing the village here, and Alliance is the primary general contractor. And Bill? Go ahead.
Bill Sanzloff, street department.
Dave Garrett, the street supervisor.
Josh Ram, the assistant to the village manager. Brian Thompson, transfer police.
Lori Lyons, finance director.
Or Milo, you want to come up here and have a seat, please? There's a chair right over here. Oh, no. It's not like church. You won't get in trouble.
Okay.
So I'll let you start, Jody. You can go through on the back. Here on the
Jody Remical, Hampshire Township.
Trevor Herman, Hampshire Fire Department.
Milo.
Miley Edmondson, we had the dollar store at the corner here.
Eric Larson from the fire department.
Larry Coons, Faithway Baptist Church. Brandon Roberts, bought building, starting a business downtown.
Phil Swallow on the Hampshire Beautification Committee.
Liz Leonardo, the branch manager at First American Bank.
Angie Young, First American Bank.
Kelly Zappi with Guardian Angel Master.
And we have entering Steve Carroll from the library. Work together. Please introduce yourself.
Yeah, I'm Diana Stahl. I'm the project manager at Hampshire Animal Hospital.
Great. Sorry, we just finished introducing everybody. We have the general contractor for the project. We have our engineering department here, EPI, who'll be going over running the meeting today. I'm the village manager. This is our street department. There's some of our departments behind you. So we planned for an hour for this meeting. If you have any questions, I think this is pretty much everybody who RSVP. We did invite all the businesses downtown. I've spoken to several others who are not here tonight. So Kurt, if you could just walk them through. You want to follow your agenda, but I think once we get into it, you guys may have questions. But let's start with the start date and construction area and so forth.
Yeah, so I think we're just gonna briefly go through a couple things.
So let me know if you want to put any exhibits.
Yeah, so start date for the project is planned on May 2nd. So coming up here in a few weeks. We're gonna be coordinating the exact closure based on Alliance's construction schedule. They may not close the road right away. We have to determine that here over the next couple of weeks. But the biggest thing is you guys will have access to your businesses to the sidewalk right in front, 5 feet of the businesses will not be removed with the exception of the corners where the intersections are. I don't think there's any direct impact for any of the businesses. Just going through the 4 different corners, the Jovic Chevy side, I guess, there's no business at that corner. Or Joey Ford, or sorry, Ford?
Right here?
Yeah, or James Motors,
Motors.
sorry, Joe.
Yep.
James Motors, sorry.
Yep.
Sorry, James Motors right there. There's no entrance right there at that corner. The other side where the rose garden used to be, I don't know if there's any business in there right now.
Nobody in this room. The owner of the building's working on it. He expects to have at least by the end of summer. By the way, for those of you interested, Dan's a really nice guy. He ran it. He operated the rose garden for 15 years before the recent operators were, and he's fixing up the building, and he has a prospect restaurants to go in there. So we expect another restaurant before the end of the summer.
So right now, there's no anticipated conflict with that corner entrance. At the north end on Washington, the eastern side, I don't believe there's any conflict with the sidewalk improvements at that entrance area. And then on the other side, that's where I think the law office is over there. There may be a couple business entrances that could be
No, that's
impacted.
That's Brandon's new building back in the back. That's gonna be a couple. Are you willing to share with us now what you're gonna do there, Brandon?
Sure.
Not? Okay.
I'll give you a brief. We're gonna be bringing a coffee establishment and then a wine and craft beer facility for the evening. Whole bunch of more. There's other ideas, but that's the meat and potatoes of what we're for sure gonna do. But we're gonna be doing construction, so we won't be open
Okay.
for a little while.
Yeah,
When do you expect to open?
It's a good question. I would say I would like to be open if everything worked out like the month before Coon Creek Day, so we can at least get on our feet before we get influx with folks.
I think it's he and the Rose Garden operator. They won't be open, but those are the 2 entrances that you guys are gonna have to block temporarily for like 3 days was our expectation. And
yeah.
right now they're both empty, so that's not a problem.
And I would think that these guys, when they're doing their construction, they're probably, more on just a daily to get things done closure and then open it back up if needed be.
Well, I think they told me, you told me originally that we thought we'd have to close the Rose Garden and what is now social.
And that was before we knew exactly what they were gonna do with construction, so I think that what they can do with now that it's not pavers, it's concrete. So you put the concrete down, you put a plate over it and they can get access. It's easy.
Yeah, look and see, with the radius, so you can, for sure, when we remove it, it'll be, we can ramp them back in right away, just let the look in when we go for it. Might have to work with you for that day.
We love that you're doing it, so
Okay,
do what you gotta do.
all right.
So that's kind of the intersection improvements that are gonna be affected businesses. Parking access, there's a poster up on the board right there, next to the TV showing the yellow parking areas that business owners and your customers can park in, and then there'll be at least some signage so you can be directed as to what side would be best to get access to your businesses. Obviously, coming from the north to the south to get access, you might be able to access on State Street directly across any businesses. And only 3 to 4 months is probably that's the closure time. And like I said, we'll figure out exactly the date of when the full closure will happen based on if these guys can get in there and just do some daily closures to start.
Why don't you walk into the detour, please?
You want to put that up?
Well, I think everybody can see it over there on the wall. I can share my screen. I don't think it'll be much better, but I can do that. The only concern I have, Kurt, is that left off of State onto Jefferson.
Talking about
Jackson, yeah, right there.
this right here?
Yeah, there's a couple of, is anybody here from Stitching on State? Oh, come on in.
Everybody, sorry.
Have the mayor's chair over there.
All right.
Maybe she'll be there. Yeah, you never know.
Good.
What was I asking? Oh, yeah, there's a couple of parking places along the north side of Jefferson there that may be used by, well, it could be anybody after this starts, but I'm a little concerned that there may not be the proper area for somebody to make that left turn there.
You talking about this turn
Yeah,
right here?
exactly there. So there's parking on the right-hand side. After you make the turn, we may have to block that parking to make. You might
Yeah.
check that before you go. We get a 53-foot semi, that could be an issue.
Well, and I mean, how often are you gonna get a truck up this way? Is
We
it,
get a lot of.
They get through here all day long, all day long.
because I thought you guys limited truck traffic.
No, we have, that's not, that won't happen until after we're done.
Okay. Well, as far as if there's trucks coming through here and coming around, I mean, there just may have to be limited on some of these corner areas where the trucks are gonna turn.
Dave and I will work on that, but we walked it yesterday and that's the only tight corner we're a little concerned. about.
Yeah,
There's plenty of shoulder there, as long as we may have to block the parking.
yeah, if you need to help coordinate, we're kind of putting some, temporary, no parking. It's gonna help with access period.
One other thing, while you guys are over there, all the Ps that you see, the three that are original were from last year. Those are the two existing parking lots, and then what's the third one? No, that's
This is
parking.
the
It's
area
actually
right
right out front of the street. There will be some parking that will remain right in front of Village Hall. But the other new one I wanted to share with you all, some good news, is we've been negotiating with Canadian Pacific. If you haven't read it already, Canadian Pacific is going to be they're making an acquisition of Kansas City Railroad. And that's going to increase the number of trains coming through town. It's been quite publicized in the Chicago metro area. It's been in Herald, the Daily Herald. We had a posting on Facebook a few weeks ago.
That's not a done deal yet. It's still,
It's not a done deal, but the village has been negotiating with, well, let me put it this way. The acquisition has closed between the two companies.
okay.
Mexico has approved it. Canada does not have to approve it. In the United States, the Surface Transportation Board has to approve it, and they have like 9 months of public comment. So that started in December and that goes through September.
Okay.
And we submitted a letter on behalf of village residents, our village board did, expressing concerns about the number of trains. We're going from 3 trains to 11. So that's quite an increase. Now that'll happen over a 10-year period, so it won't happen on day one. So we sat down with them and we were trying to figure out a way where the village could what's the word I'm looking for? Lessen the impact on our residents and our businesses. And one of the things is the whistle's going off. It's bad enough now. I don't think we have any in the middle of the night. The ones I hear all the time, I think are 5 o'clock, 5:15,
There's a
1:15.
3 a.m. train that comes.
Oh, there is
through.
a.
Yeah, I live on corner of Jefferson and Madison.
Okay, so you'll appreciate this, I hope. Mayor Reed has been really, even before this acquisition came up, he's been asking about, what they call a quiet zone, so the train doesn't have to blow its whistle as it goes through town. And that means extra safe barriers. So we'll have 4 gates, 2 on each side instead of just 1 on each side. We'll also be closing the East Street crossing, which is just a few hundred yards to the west, to make it safer. And then that allows us, and part of this agreement is that they will then put that we will be paving that as a parking lot, and they're leasing that space to us in perpetuity. So that'll add 20 parking places for downtown, not just during construction, but also after Streetscape is finished. So, and those will be extra long spaces. We're still working on how we can limit the length of cars and trucks that can park right on State Street. Some of these long trucks and really the long pickups or the extended cabs are really not safe on State Street. So we're going to limit the length of those vehicles, but there'll be 20 spaces in that parking lot where they can park. And then, of course, the other 2 lots that are already there. You probably noticed that this was last year, we had those 2 lots paved too. So there's a lot of extra parking. We have, you notice that James Motors has stopped parking now for the most part in the remote lot over here.
Which were
I'm pointing the wrong way. The one behind you, where are you? I talked to Vita this week, and yesterday I only saw 1 or 2 of their cars there, so they will be stopping using that now.
Oh, great.
And they haven't had to use Town Hall Road because they don't have any inventory, for one thing. And you can see they've rented a lot just on the north side of the tracks too, a lot of the cars. So that's really what we're here for, and to answer your questions. So you've got the contractor here, the engineer, the village people, if you will. We're not gonna sing or dance though.
So what about putting like compact car parking like they have at the grocery stores? They have allotted for smaller, they don't have to be compact, but so whatever you do, but to keep these long trucks, because they are hard to get around.
Yeah, we're gonna keep them off the State Street. The only thing that came up recently is the authority to limit the length of a vehicle. And we're still looking for that authority, but we'll find it, I'm sure.
Okay.
And then the other thing is if you have special parking, like you, Mickey, you have a pickup parking place for pickup. If you have any requirements like that, the library, we've agreed not to change any parking in front of your building, not to eliminate any parking in the long run. So I want to repeat what the village board has said. There's three primary objectives for this project. Number one is to improve safety downtown. That's the most important part of the project. And that means pedestrian safety, and it also means vehicle safety. I don't know how we've gone all these years without a serious accident down here with people backing out. I've had 20 near misses myself in just the 2 years I've been here, but we're all kind of used to that, I guess. But, so we're really emphasizing that. As we've all talked before, I want to, for those of you who are not aware, on the west side of the street will be only parallel parking, no angle parking in the future. So we're losing 5 spaces because of that. That's why it was important to pick up the 20 additional spaces right around the corner on Red. So, but those spaces will be limited obviously in length, so that'll limit those lengths. And on the angle parking on the east side, that's where we're going to limit the length of vehicles. So getting compact parking would be a great idea. We've also, it's been suggested, and Josh is looking in right now into some charging stations downtown, possibly at some of our municipal lots for electric vehicles. And if any of you have parking, I guess Blocks is, I don't think anybody's with Blocks. Blocks is really the only one that has a fair amount of parking. We talked to them about maybe putting some electric charging stations there too. Okay. And Jeannie Mayer has joined us, the executive director of the Chamber of Commerce. I think most of you know her, but if you have any questions about the Chamber, please here too. So anybody have questions about timing, construction? I'd just like to ask you guys as Alliance, do you want our businesses to call your project managers directly? Do you want them to have a contact at Village Hall if they have questions? I mean, if you could give them a phone number, that would be great. That way they can contact you if they have concerns about something that's going on immediately.
Yeah.
Is that?
The other thing I really think there should be one key person, whether it's with EEI or not, and then we can address it from there. I'm not trying to deflect, but I think it's just better to have one person that can.
That's fine. So Tim, who would you recommend? I'm sorry, Kurt, not Tim. It could be somebody here at the village, or it could be Richard, whatever you think. Somebody close to the project though, because the kind of question I'm talking about is, you know, there's a guy cutting in front of my sidewalk right now. I need something done this minute.
Yeah, I think Richard would be probably right. Be the best person to be on.
Sure.
I want to make sure you're all right with it. So you can take the brunt with these guys, but Richard, I think as the resident engineer.
Certainly, if there's a concern with anybody, if any of our crews are doing something, certainly they can come up and express that concern. And it just, as far as any questions or requests or anything like that, I think they should go through.
Yeah, Kurt with the hat on, not Kurt over here, but Kurt with the hat on will be the project manager. Will you be on site most of the time?
I'll be, once a day, whatever. I won't be here all day.
So if you recognize him, he's the go-to, but if you see somebody outside and it bothers you, walk right up to that person. Don't endanger yourself. Don't go by their equipment, or call here and ask for myself. You all have my cell number. And I've sent you all emails in the last couple of weeks, several weeks. So please use those, text, email, whenever you have a concern to see something that concerns you. Okay.
You use barricades or concrete barriers for closure?
Barricades.
The city is in charge of all traffic control and detour.
Yeah.
So they're gonna have that up. Obviously, anything we move or disturb, we put back in place.
And then instead, when we remove the road, we're gonna have access, even if it's just gravel for us to get our equipment in. So then you're still gonna be ways for you guys to get in,
All right.
You gonna give lessons for people to learn how to parallel park?
I've actually been thinking about that.
You said there was 3 things. One was improved safety. What were the other?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I got sidetracked. The second was infrastructure. We have water and sewer lines, especially electrical lines that have failed underneath State Street. So we're cleaning all that up. That'll all be replaced. And then the third thing was aesthetics, to make it look nice. And that's, unfortunately, we've had to scale back on the aesthetics because the costs have gone up so much. And we couldn't postpone this another year. We would lose our grant funding. So what was bid last year, 1.5 million, I think, we've cut it way down. For example, the canopy lights that you may have heard about, that had to be cut out. It was quoted at $280,000, which is just way over budget. In the meantime, the village is using some of our ARPA funds, about 250, is it, Lori, for this?
Yeah.
Around 200,000. So we still had to supplement the federal grant with our own federal money that came from the American Rescue Plan. So the funding is there, but some of the aesthetics had to be changed. We had to leave the actual pavers to a colored cement. So, I mean, it won't look nearly as dramatic maybe as the original pictures over there show. For example, some of those pavers now, that area will be colored concrete instead of pavers. which for maintenance purposes, our street department is actually pleased about. So I think overall, this will be really nice. We still will have the brick pavers at all the crosswalks. Actually, a painted brick paver crosswalk.
This is around, you can see what
It's an
the
example of what
crosswalks would look like.
crosswalks will look like.
And this is an asphalt picture, but it would be concrete instead of that. But the crosswalks, the brick crosswalk look, that's actually paint. It's gonna look like a 3D brick almost. So, and we've done it in several other municipalities. Great results, you know, good durability, maintenance free for you guys.
Yes.
Is it, I know at one point the discussion was that the road would be raised to sidewalk level, is all be one level. Is that still in the discussion, or do I have that?
Sure.
Backwards.
So there are gonna be some areas where the access points are gonna be the same as the elevation of the road. So, but that there are ramps involved though. We can't really have the bulb out areas. We do put that this plan up so they can kind of see. The bulb out, and we'll put this up here so you can see the total improvements of what's going on. These bulb out areas are, in order to keep pedestrians safe, you've got to have raised curbs. You just have to. And we've got, there's a lot of curbs that may not be full height transition wise for ramps or just for grade purposes. There's going to be bollards to protect pedestrians as well in place. So yeah, those bulb out areas, there's going to be,
Just good view right now, bigger, smaller, what do you want? Let me first give you a view of the overall. You have your bearings there.
yeah, so those dark gray hatched areas, that's where the colored concrete's gonna be, and those are the quote bulb out areas. They're defined by curb and gutter. And then there's ramps associated with flares, everything's all ADA compliant. You've got some landscape areas in each one of the bulb out areas. That's that kind of that almost like dot looking thing. So trees and shrubs and little plantings, be quite a lot of little things going on with that. The intersection area is just going to be just a plain white concrete, but the crosswalks having that methyl methacrylate painted brick look will make it pop.
And that is just these crosswalks.
Yep, that's that picture I sent around. So that's what you're gonna see, and they're nice and wide. They're 8 foot wide, so they're nice, wide, generous crosswalks. Other than that, I mean, it's pretty much that. If you want to hand down a little bit, Jay. Hand down a little bit. The catenary lighting system that's kind of shown there, that's not there anymore, obviously, but hand down so you can see the clock. The post clock though, and the other way, other way. There you go. Yeah, so the post clocks on that corner right there, that top right corner there, you can see that's where the post clock's going to be. It's from one of those rendering pictures that's up there. You can see the old fashioned post clock that will be installed. All new street lighting, as Jay mentioned, will be installed. There's going to be 6 street lights on this block instead of the 3 you see on the other blocks. So this will have more lighting on this festival block area. The decorative poles.
I'll put the landscape plan up just for report too.
That's pretty much the extent of the improvements, all new pavement, curb and gutter. Fixing the slopes of some of that sidewalk that's not ADA compliant.
This is the landscape plan, so maybe Kurt, if you could just walk through that briefly.
Yeah, so
Detail.
yeah, it just shows the landscaped areas. So you've got each landscape area in each one of those 4 bulb outs on the Jefferson. And then there's 3 on the Washington side. There's also 2 mid-block ones you can see there. 2 little island areas where they're gonna have a bunch of plantings and then 1 tree on that southern side.
And how many plants are there?
232.
It was actually asked at the village board meeting, how can you possibly put 332 plants in there?
Yeah.
They are.
They were called shrubs, so.
Yeah, they were called shrubs.
They were called shrubs, but you can't think of a shrub as this. A shrub is this. So it could be anything from an annual like little flower or some sort of a little smallish type bush or even hosta style. There's a lot of different things going on in this. I'm not an arborist nor am I a landscape designer, so I can't comment really on all those details.
Okay, any other questions? Yes, Steve.
Looking at the library there, and because the corner of Washington and State will be under construction, we're thinking that we're not going to advertise to our patrons that they should park next to the post office there. Because they won't be able, even though the sidewalk will be open, they won't be able to round that corner. Am I correct?
They should be able to round the corner as a pedestrian, yes.
Okay, so even though that corner is under construction.
That'll just be for a short portion. That's where we talked about.
Yeah, the majority of the time, we'll have it it'll be stone ramp, but there'll be a time when we go to pour it, there'll be a day where we won't be able to get access through there.
Okay. Also, that's good news. I'm thinking though, what I'm concerned about too is the new parking lot that you mentioned across the street from the library, kitty corner there across the street. Would it be possible to have a striped crosswalk? Let me back up a little bit. If somebody's parked there, they're going to cross Rin and then cross State directly to the front of the library. Now there's a striped angled crosswalk right now in front of the gas station there coming to the library. That's going to be, torn up. But if we could have a striped crosswalk going now, directly across right angles. You understand what I'm talking about? Do I need to?
Is that safe though?
You talking about right here?
No.
Or are you talking about this?
Yeah, on the other side, they're gonna cross over Rin, so they don't cross directly.
You're talking about just coming this way from this new parking lot.
Right,
So,
crossing that and then crossing State to get to the library.
and then coming across somewhere over here.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Yes.
Show where the current crosswalk is now, Steve.
Well, the current
I think
crosswalk
it's
is right
like-
here. That's pretty much the current crosswalk. Yeah, we're not really changing location.
The question is, Kurt, can we have a temporary crosswalk there during construction?
Just, and I guess that for the village, just moving your barricades back to allow. I don't know if you're thinking of putting the barricades right there at the.
I mean, would this be a better spot up here? Put it up this way? Just
Yeah, I
to
was
keep,
thinking about
just
that,
to
yeah.
keep it away from down this way, because it's gonna get kind of hairy down here. I'd hate
Yeah,
to
we could
force
try it.
pedestrians to intermingle.
I'm just concerned that that's kind of close to the tracks there, but it could work. It could work. I mean, I leave that up to you and your engineer.
Yeah, well, I mean,
Probably-
the parking did put kind of just had like, Jake sprung this on, it's like, oh, you're putting parking into the tracks, oh boy. So, and I don't know if the railroad property is gonna infringe on that possibility as well. So if you have to go this way and come around somehow like that, I mean, you just put up some barricades and
Let's
some.
take a walk and find a place where we will try and put a temporary
Yeah.
crosswalk in there.
Okay, appreciate it.
Yeah, we'll definitely think about where to put that, where the best way would be.
Can you do that, Striking?
Yeah, we got it.
Temporary, yep. We can do that ourselves if we can find
Yeah.
a great spot for that. Thank you, good questions. Appreciate it, thank you. Any other questions?
I have questions. So, since a lot of traffic will be coming in front of the animal hospital now, will be coming there. We normally have a lot of people who park right in front of that building, and there's a lot of pets coming in and out of cars. So we
I'm one
were,
of those.
pardon?
I'm one of those.
Oh, yay. So we were thinking of like having no parking in front of the building at that time. And maybe we can get some more official, stronger looking no parking signs
definitely
than
do
just
that.
suggestions.
Yes, If you're okay with that, that'd be great. That will give it more room for everything, for traffic.
Just for safety of like the pets and stuff.
And that is what we're doing further south in front of the funeral home.
Oh,
So we can
okay,
do the same thing down there.
okay. And then, but then that would mean that we will have to, our staff will have to leave all those parkings on the side open, well, not all of them, but more of them open for clients. So then our staff will have to make use of those parking
Yeah,
areas.
they can use the parking lots or the street.
Across the
any
street
of the
or
side
at-
streets,
Yeah, okay, okay.
And for those of you downtown, I think I hope you would agree, probably customers first when it comes to those parking lots and then your employees second. I'm gonna have to start looking for a parking place myself because I park out here where it's gonna be torn up. So, we'll all be kind of finding our own places, but I know somebody asked about, waitresses, I think it might have been you, Michelle, but I'm assuming your customers first, right?
Right, absolutely.
There is quite a bit of parking all further west on Ren. I noticed, Chief, we have no parking signs along the tracks on Ren. There's 2 signs up there. Is there any particular reason for that, you know? It's just the railroad. Oh, and we might pull those out so that there could be parking along Ren further west that could go way down there. So we'll probably do that too.
Okay.
Other questions? Okay, for those of you who joined us a little late, we've been through the details of the construction, we've been through the timing, we expect to start May 1st. Although I will say one thing we learned during the pre-con meeting earlier was, the good news is they do not plan to take the entire construction area from day one. The road may stay open longer than that with some flaggers out there with 1 lane. So we've asked them to go ahead and do that, they'll share with us when that'll happen. Everybody in this room has received an email about this meeting, is that right?
No, mine bounced for some reason, but she read it back to me. It's right. So I don't know why it didn't come
We'll
through.
continue, maybe if you could pick up one of my business cards and send me. an
I'll
email,
send you
maybe
something.
that'll help.
I know why that happened.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, they left the V out of global. Because
Oh,
I was like, oh my gosh,
okay,
looking
so it was
online.
just in
I'm
an
like,
upper.
The reason I ask is that if there's any questions, for sure, just email me directly or call me. You all have my cell number, which is in the bottom of that email. Or text me, that's even better sometimes. I don't care what time of day or night it is, I get texts, just like Trevor and Brian and everybody else around here. But also I'll be occasionally I'll send out an email update if I need to.
I was
So that's
late.
in-
So what's the length of this project? May 1st to?
16 weeks is it, so if everything goes right on plan, and there are penalties if they're late, if everything goes on plan, we should be open the day before Coon Creek.
Oh.
The lights may not be up, it's the timing of light poles.
No plans. No
It's
plans.
fake lights. Yes, we don't need lights.
You guys, first of all, these guys, would you like to explain your roots in Hampshire?
Well,
Your experience, just so these people know that you've been around.
The owner of Alliance claims to be a shirt tail relative of Orsruth.
Which I said may or may not be.
He doesn't like
But anyway,
that.
no, and I personally, my wife's cousins went to Hampshire high schools. We're from Huntley, so we know the idea. We've done quite a few of these streetscapes before. Please talk to us before it becomes a problem. We're not out to mess up anybody's business. We respect their business ourselves. So please let us know before it becomes a problem, and we'll try to work it out at that point. There is gonna be some stuff that, I don't understand about the animal hospital that you guys do. I'm sure there's gonna be some stuff that you guys don't understand. Please ask before it becomes an issue. Because we understand you guys gotta make a living, so. Come to us ahead of time before it's an issue, anyway.
When do you expect the street to actually start being closed down? May 2nd or?
Well, we still don't have contracts yet. That goes through the grant people and all that stuff, so there's a couple of governmental things that have to be hopped through yet. Some of it on our part, some of it on CBDG part. Anyway, so that and some material acquisitions, we don't want to start tearing anything up until we have the stuff in hand, because you'll really be mad if we dig it up and then just let it sit there for 2 weeks.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that's why they're being a little bit vague. That's our goal, is to do that, but there's still a few things that we've got to get taken care of prior to that, so.
If you do the flagger, how long might that be for it instead of closing the street?
Again, to look at the logistics of it, it's gonna be the underground stuff, so I would guess a couple of weeks is really all I was gonna say.
You really should expect that as of May 2nd, don't plan on the road being open. It may be a few weeks after that before they close it.
Yeah.
Yes, you'll know when they start.
They are putting, like the sales putting up, message boards.
Yeah, we'll be having, the first thing you'll probably see is, assuming they come in on time, because everything is delayed right now. We have all the signage, because we had that from last summer, but we're renting 2 trailers with signs on either end of the project, and then as soon as Dave gets those will be the first things that go up, hopefully in the next week.
So that would affect Coon Creek if you start 2 weeks late.
Well, they're still trying to get They understand the deadlines.
Hopefully, we're done before that, but contractually, that's what we're bound to, is 16 weeks when we start. And actually, total contract completion, I believe, is October 28th. So, believe me, I've been to Coon Creek days. I knew.
And it helps that Coon Creek's a few weeks later this year, for other reasons.
So the road closure goes from Ren to Jackson?
Yes.
Okay.
Not quite to Rin.
Any other questions?
Well, that's part of the detour.
Yeah, Rin's part of the detour.
That's what, because I live on Jefferson's, I'm just figuring I'm gonna have to go that way, this way, and then this way.
Yes,
Oh, thank you.
yes.
It's actually, the detour is right above your head on the wall too there.
I live up here.
Right. So those arrows are the direction that.
Yeah.
So you see the actual closure. Rin is part of the detour.
Okay.
If you look on that streetscape poster on the board, that blue area in the middle is the closed area. Where it says new streetscape.
Okay.
And then the detour goes, you can see it goes west on Jefferson to Park and then back on it. Any other questions?
Have to work from home.
All right, if not, thank you all very much. I hope you will tell the others. I think I've spoken to most everybody that's not in the room today, but if you hear any concerns, share it with me, please. We really want feedback on this. We need to know. All right, otherwise, thanks all for coming.